Okay, here it is. 100,000 miles on my 2023 Toyota Tundra Limited. I bought this truck in January 11th, 2023. And it was a struggle to find the truck that I wanted at that time. And I kind of had to pick one up fairly quickly because my 2008 Tundra with 285,000 miles had been totaled. So today we're going to go ahead and do a 100,000 mile review on my Tundra. Again, like I said, it's a 2023. It's a limited version. There's a few things I've changed. I haven't done anything major. I do recognize that there's a recall on the engine, and my truck is eligible for a new engine. So sometime after 100,000 miles, I'm going to get a new engine. Quite honestly, I'm not going to complain about that. And I'm not really going to get into the engine recall piece because I think it's been beaten to death at this point, and we don't know enough about it really to determine what it truly means, except for I'm getting a new engine here soon. I haven't been told when, but it'll be soon. So we're going to walk around the truck and talk about it a little bit. I'm going to point out a few things. I'm going to point out a few things I don't like. I'm going to point out some things that I've changed to the truck. They're not big changes. The thing I would say about my truck is this is a daily driver. I have a toy in the garage that's my garage queen. This truck goes through car washes. I don't super detail it. I keep it clean. That's all I do. But I drive it a lot. And this is my transport for pretty much everything. My wife has a nice SUV, but if we go on a road trip, I'm more comfortable in the truck. And we'll talk about the comfort in the truck. Okay, we're going to do a quick walk around on my Tundra here. Overall, I'm going to talk about the paint. The paint's held up really well. And what I am going to say about this truck from a paint perspective is I take it through car washes. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to super detail it. I'm hoping the car wash wax does okay. The fit and finish on this truck is excellent, as is most Toyotas. If I compare it to my Ford Mustang, this is a better fit and finish, which is kind of sad. I've toyed with changing out the grill. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet, but if I could get a light bar in there, I'd probably be pretty happy. I talked about having to pick up the truck quickly, and at the time there weren't a lot available. What I didn't know were certain things like the headlights. So these are the standard headlights. They aren't the upgraded headlights. I kind of wish I had known that. I might have looked around a little more to see if I could get the upgraded headlight. Now, these headlights work perfectly fine. There's no issues whatsoever. But I would have liked to have the other ones that had a daytime running light. Overall, I really like the truck. I'm not going to say I really like it. I really like this truck. I've really enjoyed driving it. It's done very well for me. I don't have any major complaints. Again, we're not going to address the engine issue because it's there. The one thing I did was I went through the first set of tires at about 38,000 miles, and I went and picked up these Pathfinder ATs from Discount Tire. I've used these on my previous Tundra, on my 08, and they work really great. I've got 64,000 miles on them right now. They're about due, but I also went a little bit different size. These are the 20-inch wheels. I went with the 275 60/20s. So a little bit taller tire, and it's worked out really well. I put on the Go Rhino running boards here, and while I really enjoy them, and I'm going to kind of take a peek down here for you, what I kind of don't care for is the mounting system under there, because when I hit heavy rain and stuff, it makes a lot of noise. But that's okay. Not a big deal. All right, go to the back of the truck here. Everything's looking good. We'll talk about my tonneau cover. I've done a couple videos on the tonneau cover. I'm a big fan of the roll-up tonneau covers, primarily because I put dirt bikes in the back, so it makes it fairly easy for me. I put the mud flaps on very early on. These are from China. Sorry, guys, but they're on Amazon. They were cheap. Overall, everything's doing really well. Paint's doing a good job. I'm going to open up the bed here. So a couple things here. My bed is dirty, so don't kill me. But I really like the roll-up of this because it makes it easy for me if I've got larger loads. The other thing I've done is I've put L-track in here because I have mounting systems called bike binders for my dirt bikes. So I had to drill through this, and I had a couple spots here where I misplaced it and just left holes, but at least I got drainage now, so that's okay. We talk about this being a composite bed. I'm going to call it plastic. I mean, basically when you drill it out, it looks like plastic, but it's worked out very well. I've got 250-pound bikes that hold up very well over there. So we'll just close this up real quick. One thing I love about the Crew Max is that window that it goes down. I didn't have the Crew Max in the old truck, but I did have a 6.5 foot bed in the old truck, and this is a 5.5 foot, and it works fine for me, but I wish I had the 6.5 foot. So make note of that, because the Tundra is offered with the Crew Max in the 6.5 foot bed. A friend of mine's got one. It's a long truck. It's a very long truck, but there are days where I wish I had it. Again, walking around the truck, just do a quick walk around here. There's not a lot to talk about exterior wise. I'm going to talk about this window right here. This driver's window, when it gets wet, after a while tends to skip while it's going up and down. Well, it turns out that the dealer just puts a little silicone in here, and it goes away for about 8 months, and then I got to do it again. Let me talk about this here. This is the PPF that the factory puts on. You can see it in the door. It's dirty. It's on the mirrors over here, and it's a crappy job on the hood. They didn't wrap it or anything. I have somebody who specializes in this, and they do a fantastic job. And I'm going to rip all that off the mirrors and the doors anyways. I probably won't replace the door handles or the edge guards. I'm probably going to get black caps for the mirrors, because those just get chipped up. As far as the hood goes, I'll probably replace that also. Again, I mentioned possibly doing the grill. I just haven't decided yet. Maybe strangely enough, I kind of like this grill with the mustache on the truck and how it all works for the Limited. So I'm not sure, but if I could put some extra lights in there, I'd be pretty happy. Let me talk about one thing on the hood here. People have talked about glare from this area of the hood, and you do get it. It is a real thing, and you can get some pretty wicked glare from there. So as you can see, I talked about, I've got PPF from the factory on there. They put it on automatically. I'm going to tear it off, and I'm considering doing a new PPF clear, but in a matte format. So I'm going to talk to my guy, see what he thinks of that. All right, so that's the walk around of the truck for now, and we'll talk about some other things. Let's talk about bed utility. I've dropped some pretty big stuff in here. No issues with the bed whatsoever. I think it could drain a little bit. Down in there you can see a little bit of water. A little bit of water comes in from a tonneau cover once in a while. I mean, we get big rain here in North Carolina. The power outlet I've used a whole 2 times, and I really liked having it. The only thing is you got to have your truck running. I've got the bed rails and of course the tie downs, and those work really well. I've used those for, like I said, 250-pound dirt bikes with no issues. I've had no issues with the bed here or anything like it, the durability or anything like that. It's very functional. So that's worked out really well for me. The only thing that I struggle with is these, since these are pieces in here, this is a piece, not a formed piece of metal or whatever. A lot of dirt gets in here. So if you got a white truck like me, then you're going to get a lot of dirt in there. You can see in there. It's okay. Like I said, I take my truck through a car wash once a week, maybe more often. I don't detail the hell out of it. I just keep it clean. The other thing I am going to do here very soon is I'm going to put PPF on the tailgate, because I kind of beat the crap out of the tailgate. Okay, I don't really know how to show you this one, but I have the air suspension in this one, which I really like. It comes in really handy. Now, I've put a car trailer on here with a car. I've put plenty of dirt bikes in here. It's self-leveling. It works really well. The truck rides well. I contemplated getting new wheels, but at the end of the day, they're just wheels, so I just keep going. I want to talk about the brakes real quick. The rear brakes wear out faster than the fronts. Now, you're going to think I'm nuts when I say this, but I did rear brakes at 50,000 miles, and the second set right now that's on there, about 10,000 miles ago, still had 7 millimeters left, so they're probably due again. But let's go down here and talk about the fronts. This is crazy, because at the same time those had 7 millimeters, these front brakes at 95,000 miles had 7 millimeters, and those are the original brake pads. Now, we talk a little bit about, I've heard people talk about the rotors. Yep, these are the typical Tundra rotors. I had the same problem with my old truck, so I'll be putting some power stops on those when I put the new brakes on the front and the rear. We'll just do a full power stop setup. Okay, let's talk about the interior now. I don't really have a lot to say about it. You can see I got one of the seats up right now. The one thing I really like about my Limited, and the fact that this is not a hybrid, is I like having the storage in here. So I'm going to lift this up a little bit, and you can see I got a bunch of stuff down there, tie downs and stuff like that. I love having that storage. I really like for the passengers that they've got an AC outlet back there, plus they have a USB-A and a USB-C. It's nice to have some vents back here. They work okay. I wouldn't say they're awesome. Overall, I think the interior is pretty good. I like it. I like the colors. I like the material. And folks have ridden across the country with me in it in the back and told me that it's comfortable, so I guess I have to believe them. All right. Up front, I don't have any issues with this interior. I actually am very, very comfortable. I'm very happy with this. I drive across the country at least once a year, and this is my road trip truck. Sorry about that. And I don't have any issues with comfort in this truck at all. It's very comfortable for me. Now, let's talk about the one thing. This guy. Look, I got a crack again. When that gets replaced, it'll be number 4. Now, I haven't had to pay for one yet. I go in, my guy at the Toyota dealership puts in, I don't know what it's called, he puts in a request to Toyota and says, hey, it broke again. This guy's a longtime customer. You know, this is my 4th Tundra. Whatever he does, and he gets it done for free. So I really don't have any complaints. I've got the seat memory here, and that's pretty important to me also. All right, let's talk about cabin noise. This has been a popular topic on all the forums, and I don't have a problem. I don't know what it is. For a while there, I thought I was getting talked into it, but I just don't have a problem with cabin noise. In general, I think this is a pretty quiet truck. And I'll just try to pan through the front here, through my dash and everything. We'll take a peek at everything. But I don't have any wind noise, not excessive wind noise. I mean, can you hear wind once in a while? Sure. But this is a brick. I mean, it's literally the shape of a brick going through the air. But in general, this is a pretty quiet truck to me. I don't think my 2008 was any quieter. As a matter of fact, I think it was probably a little noisier. All right, let's talk about the infotainment system. And this is probably my biggest gripe. We're paying $60-something thousand up for a truck, and I think they could do a better job on the stereo system. I do not have the JBL system, and that is one thing I kind of wish I had known that I was paying attention to when I bought the truck. I do not think that the stock stereo system that I have is very good. It's okay, it does the job, but it's not awesome. My JBL in my 2008 was far superior to this one. Now, I'm not saying the JBL systems are the greatest, but they're better than what this is. And I just can't understand why Toyota doesn't at least just put a JBL in every truck. Let's hear me talk. All right, the other things I've done is I put a bullet point mounting system in here. Right now I just have this for my iPhone, and this is a MagSafe charger. And as you can see up here, I've mounted in here. That is probably the best add-on that I've done in the truck. That thing works great, and I'm glad I did it, and I'm going to be adding more to it because I'd like to be able to put an iPad over here or give somebody an option to put their phone in. All right, I'm going to pan over here and try to get you in so you can see the mileage. It might be hard to see, but 102,318, so no lie. All right, couple other things. I like all the controls here, but there's a couple things I dislike. I don't know why we had to put these little pieces of plastic between all the switches. All they do is collect dust. Drives me insane. Now, I said that I don't detail out my truck, but that drives me insane because I can see it. The other thing that I've done is the piano black console here. That thing got trashed in almost no time, so I went and bought the aftermarket matte black to stick on there, and that's worked out really well. I do agree with everybody, the cup holders suck, so I'll probably be purchasing the AGT cup holders fairly soon so that I can change those out. I'm not going to show you everything in here, but I really love having this, and I also really enjoy being able to open this up and get to it without having to lift it up in my old truck. Steering wheel controls, they're okay. It just, you know, every manufacturer does it their own way, and I have 3 different brands of cars and they're all different, and it drives me insane because when I switch cars I never know what to do, but I don't have any problems with them. They all work just fine. I have not broken this knob, and I'm not sure how you guys are doing it, but I do love having a volume knob here so that I don't have to fiddle with whatever button I'm supposed to push here. Overall, like I said, the interior works very well for me. I don't have any complaints about the interior. The only complaint I have about the interior, well, not interior, but is the infotainment system. I wish it was a little bit better, and I think that Toyota was cheaping out by not just putting a JBL and everything, because I know it doesn't cost them squat. Okay, maintenance and ownership. I generally do oil changes every 5,000 miles. Sometimes it goes longer. I might be halfway across the country or out on a trip and I just have to wait. I do take it to the Toyota dealer. My service advisor there is a friend of mine, so I get taken care of pretty well, and I don't have any problems with that. So general maintenance at about, I'm gonna say at about 85,000 miles, I did the differentials in the transfer case and changed out the fluids for those, and I really haven't done anything else at this point. Rear brakes at 50,000 miles, like I mentioned before. The only modification I've done under the hood is I put the TRD air filters in, and I don't really notice a difference, but it's nice to be able to just clean them and put them back in. I recently put in a cabin air filter. It was pretty nasty, so it needed to be done, but it was done at 95,000 miles. Been a couple recalls on the truck. I just did a latest one, and I think it was a flash, and I'm waiting on the one for the reverse tail light. And again, the elephant in the room, I'm waiting on my engine. Should be pretty soon. I saw a guy who had a 23 get his at 90,000 miles just in the last week or so. I believe this is a November 22 build date, so we should be getting close, and I'm hoping to get that soon. And if I don't, this thing is run great. I don't have any. Okay, final thoughts on this. This truck has been great for me. All right, the only complaint I have, and I'm gonna say it's not really a complaint, if I had been paying attention when I bought the truck, I'd have known better, is the JBL stereo system, not having it. And I would have preferred to have a different set of headlights, but is it that big of a deal? Not so much. Maybe someday I'll put another set on them, an aftermarket set, but I do like the self-leveling or the manual leveling for the headlights, so I do enjoy that. The truck's been excellent. I drive it every single day. I drive no less than 80 miles a day in this truck. I do really like the tires I bought, the Pathfinder ATs from Discount Tire. Again, I'm going to get 65,000 miles out of those, and I'm pretty happy with that. They're not noisy. They work well. No issues there. Let me see, what else can I think of? The seat. Everybody talks about the seat panel continues to break. We really thought, and my service advisor, we thought that the one we put in last at 72,000 miles or 75,000 miles was going to be a modified one and it was not going to break, but of course it did. All right, there's one thing we need to talk about, and this was kind of interesting, and we're going to talk about the camera up in the windshield there. So I had to have a windshield replaced, and shortly after that I started getting some weird notices on the console saying that the whole system was not operating properly. So I couldn't use cruise control or the radar cruise control. None of my sensors were working because that camera was on the fritz, but we didn't know that. So Toyota thought it was the windshield because we went, you know, with the glass companies, they're going to go aftermarket, so they thought it was that. So we talked to the insurance company and they switched me and they got me an OEM windshield. That didn't work. Then we found out that it was actually the camera. Now look, if you got to replace that camera out of warranty, it's about a $2,200 job, the camera and the work. So I was looking at purchasing a used one and putting it in and just paying for the calibration. But again, my truck had 75,000 miles at the time. I was out of my extended warranty already. And we submitted to Toyota and said, look, this shouldn't have broke. I'm a good customer. I've had a lot of Toyotas. I don't know how they did it, but my service advisor put in a thing, and Toyota paid for the whole thing at 75,000 miles, put a new camera in it. So I got to tell you, my experience with Toyota has actually been really good. My experience with this truck has been fantastic. I love this truck. It's great. I'm going to drive it until it falls apart. Final comments about my 2023 Tundra Limited with 102,000 miles on it. The things that surprised me, the first thing that surprised me was how fast I got to 102,000 miles in just under 3 years. The other positive is, with all the noise about the engine and everything, this truck has been flawless for me. It's run fantastic. It's smooth. It drives really well. The transmission is about as smooth as it gets. I have a 10-speed transmission in my Mustang. That's a different car, so I really can't compare, but the Tundra's 10-speed transmission is super smooth. I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy driving the truck. If there was to be a negative for me, I'd say that seat panel, it's not really a huge deal, but it's pretty irritating, and the fact that Toyota can't figure it out kind of bothers me a little bit. You'd think that they'd be able to figure that out. They've probably handed out a lot of them at this point. The other negative I would say, and that's on me, is that I didn't do my research when I bought the truck. I was in a rush. There were not a lot of trucks available in January of 2023 anyways, and there were a couple little things that I don't have to have today, but I would have liked to have the upgraded headlights, and I would have liked to have the JBL stereo system. So those are kind of the only things that I've got from what surprised me. Would I do it again? Absolutely, I would buy this truck again. There is no question. There's no other pickup truck that I would buy than a Toyota Tundra. This is my 4th Tundra. Every single one of them has been fantastic. I owned my 2008 for 15 years and 285,000 miles, and if not for a couple deer, I'd still probably be driving it. But I will say this, I much prefer this truck. It's a much nicer truck. It drives better. I'm going to say something here, and a lot of people are going to get upset by it, but it's a better engine. Now, I know there's problems with the engine, or some people have had problems with the engine. What I'm going to say is this. It drives smoother. It's quicker. It's, quite frankly, I think it's a better engine than my 5.7 was. Not that there was a problem with my 5.7. The regrets that I have, I've already mentioned them, and kind of a negative is the JBL stereo system and the headlights. And I don't think the headlights are that big of a deal. The stereo is a bigger deal for me than anything. And the other thing is not getting the 6.5-foot bed. Because I travel with dirt bikes, the 5.5-foot bed works fine. My bed extender and ramps work fine. It's not a problem. But having that extra foot really does make a difference. It makes a huge difference, and I would have liked to have gotten the larger bed. Would I consider one of these at high mileage? That's a tough one for me. I don't know what to tell you guys about that, because the reality is that I don't buy used vehicles. So it's hard for me to say. Would I feel okay? Would I feel good about buying a high mileage Toyota Tundra? Yeah, I probably would. But it's not a thing that I do, so quite honestly, it's not really fair to give you that advice. That's pretty much on you. Anyways, that's the final part of the review. Again, if you like my videos, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, add some comments. Like I said, I try to answer all of them. Take a look at some of my other videos. This YouTube page, I do some truck reviews, Tundra reviews, point out things, and then I do a lot of dirt bike reviews. Anyways, thanks again. Have a good day.